it's Michelle with Stamping with Michelle. I am here with another Learn to Stamp video. Today I'm going to talk to you about masking. And masking is a really good way that you can layer your images. So I've got this one flower here and I was able to stamp the leaves and the other flower and make it look like it is behind it. So let me show you how I did this. I think before I take this card away, I'm just going to point out that when you are masking, you want to think of things kind of in layers, and you're going to start with your image that is the closest to you, and that's the image that you're going to stamp in its entirety and that you're going to be using to then mask to tuck the other images behind. Okay, let's go ahead and pull this out of the way. I have the label here that I have cut out using the Hippo and Friends dies. And the first thing I'm going to do is actually bring in a Post-it note. And we're going to use a Post-it note when you are going to mask. We're going to stamp our flower here in Rococo Rose. And the Post-it note, of course, it's sticky only on the top. So I'm going to stamp this flower as close to the top as I can on my Post-it note. And that's what I'm going to use to cover up the image when I then stamp it on my flower. You're going to cut this out, which I have already done. So I've got this image here. Let me set that aside, and then on our little label, we're going to stamp the flower first. And then we're going to take this flower that I have cut out of the Post-it note. When you cut it out, you want to cut it just inside. Let me bring this in, and actually here, I will start cutting just a little bit just to show you what I mean. Most of the time when we're cutting, we'll cut an image like this, and we'll have a little bit of a border that we leave. You don't want to do that when you're creating an image for masking. You want to actually cut it just inside the image. That way, when you're stamping, there's a little actual bit of overlap. So see, if you look closely, you can see that there's some ink left when I cut. And if you do that all the way around, and again, most of the time those colors are going to blend and you're not going to notice, but it's really going to make a big difference. If you leave a border, you're going to have some white space that gets left behind. So next we'll bring our smaller stamp in. We're going to do this one in Bumblebee, and I'm going to stamp that one right about there. And then I'm going to stamp my leaves like so. Your Post-it's gonna look a little bit ugly, but that is quite all right. And it's gonna feel like this is not gonna work. But then you pull the Post-it note, and this is where the magic happens. And look at that. You have your flower with all of your images tucked around on the outside. And then of course I would bring my little center of my flower and stamp that in there. I use my blends markers to color the leaves in a little bit and give them that color and shading. And now I just want to show you how I did this component, because that's not on this label. So how did I do that so I could thread my ribbon through? I used the Label Me Fancy punch, and I took a pen and I just marked right in the center just the barest of dots, because otherwise I would never be able to eyeball it and have it actually come out straight. So then if you take your punch in your label and you're going to slide this in until you see there. Can you see my dot in there? I hope you can see. If I bring it up closer to the camera, maybe you can see the dot. And if I center that within the little punch, it should come out relatively straight. Oops, go this way, and then we'll do the second one on the other side. And again, center that punch. And there you go. I have the little slots that I was able to thread my ribbon through to create my card. And then I just stamped the leaves and did some layering, and that is my completed card. You could order any of these supplies by going to my blog at www.michellebreton.com. Thanks a lot and have a great day.